It is not easy to limit to a simple few those qualities that define great leadership. Perhaps that is because many of those qualities change with time and need, particularly the needs of a labor union. Still, some qualities do not change, like having a vision and the ability to articulate it. The willingness to take risks, even to take pleasure in the challenges of leadership. Great leaders want to lead. The ability to listen, to trust, to adjust to situations. These two are constants. And perhaps most important, finding a way to embody the aspirations, the values, the essence of those being led. At every level of its existence, for all of its existence, the United Steelworkers of America has been graced by leaders with these qualities. It's no accident. They grew up with the union, fought its fights, were nurtured and taught by it. They are products of the entire USWA experience. In truth, they are the union's legacy to itself.
I don't think there's any question that the fundamental style of the Steelworkers Union and commitment of the Steelworkers Union has been to build leaders and create leaders. And it's all leadership that was nurtured in the experience of being part of the Steelworkers Union. Trained, exposed, challenged, prodded, encouraged, persuaded, all those elements in terms of our union itself.
In terms of our union itself, that has always been the singular, essential steelworkers' perspective, the common thread, the prevailing thought. Because it has, the steelworkers have been able, from within themselves, to produce leaders fully prepared to meet the varied challenges of their generation. In terms of our union itself, Lynn Williams has been one of those leaders.
You know that Lynn Williams is a Canadian?
Nope.
He's from Canada, not an American citizen. Would that make a difference to you if your president were a Canadian instead of an American?
No, if he knew what he was doing, if he knew his business, no.
Why would you represent their interests better?
It's not a matter of representing interests, it's a matter of what's the best leadership of the union. And I believe that because of my experience, and because of the things I've demonstrated that I can do, and because of my interest in leading an aggressive, active, progressive union.
And because you're a Canadian?
And really getting I'm running as a steelworker.
He really held this union together. He couldn't have come in and, be president at a worse time because the whole industry was really caving in.
We were facing massive closings of plants. We were facing a crisis with our membership. Lynn inherited all that. I believe had we not addressed those issues and had we not tried to put the union in some shape to deal with it as a united front and refocus on those issues, we wouldn't be here today. And I think Lynn is due just about all the credit for that. He'll tell you not. He'll tell you it was a team effort.
What you're able to do depends so fundamentally on the talents of the people and the commitment and the understanding of the people you're working with. On the rest of your leadership group is broadly defined. And so you come back to working with other people and bringing them along and training them and making sure that they have opportunities to grow and that they learn from the various experiences. All of that just becomes overwhelmingly important as you move along.
It's been a very changing steel industry and the climate in this country during Lynn Williams' presidency, and he has been very flexible and adapted to the changes.
He knew that within the locals, something had to be done to bring all of the discrimination, the sexism, and out in the open, and to say this is intolerable. And through our different programs in steel, this is what he has done.
The one risk I think that I would say was his biggest risk that I would attribute to him was when he stepped out very early in his administration and sanctioned the membership ratification of basic steel contracts. There was a lot of people in the union who felt that was wrong. From an organizational standpoint, it was a major shift in strategy. I personally believe it saved the union.
He cares for the working man under him. He really comes out of 5 Gateway Center and he goes out amongst the locals that he represents, and I really believe when they hurt, he hurts.
At Ravenswood, during a 20-month lockout that we had, Lynn came and spoke and did a tremendous job in uplifting the morale of the membership at that location.
One realizes how vital and essential it is that we stop this slaughter of people at work.
Yeah, I think there's a great deal of truth that in the idea that a leader really has to be tested by fire, and you're not certain of, confident in your leadership, nor is your institution until you've been through a crisis or two, I suppose. I think there's a significant element of truth in that. I don't think in the labor movement you have to do anything to arrange such crises to make sure that a leader is tested.
Mr. Williams visited Ravenswood, Fort Unity on many occasions during our struggle. He never forgot a name or a face. That was one thing that always inspired me.
Had it not been for Lynn Williams' leadership at the top of the organization, we may not have returned to work. Very possible.
He met with me and the women from the support group, and we were talking about all the fun we'd had through the labor dispute and how it was kind of sad it was over because we had had such a good time. And he said, Marge, always share that with other people, that you've had such a good time fighting your battle.
He makes people feel really good. And he doesn't put people down either. When he's talking to you, even though he's the leader of our union, he's still talking one-on-one. To him, everybody is equal within the union.
We had a phone bank, and not only did he himself work with us and come in and serve his time, we required that everybody serve an evening a week. He did his stint along with his wife, Audrey, and it was really uplifting to all of us.
It was one of the proudest days of my life because it was such a surprise that he would think enough of me to have me swear him in. But things leading up to that also made me grow closer to him, such as campaigning with Lynn in the rain, learning how to drink shot and a beer, and marching beside him, carrying banners, and knowing that he was right there.
He was always in front of the march. We marched against the paper in Pittsburgh when they was on a strike. We've marched in Washington on Solidarity Day. And we stood in the rain in 1993 for 2 young men that had just got run over by a scab. He had feeling for these people.
Did a wonderful job.
I've basically been around this in the United States with Lynn, and he was always up front, pushing for better working conditions for all people, not just union people, but for all people.
We call on the leaders of America to stop this trampling of workers' rights. If they fail in this responsibility, we don't need replacement workers in America's workplaces. Where we need some replacement workers is right here in Washington. Solidarity forever.
The first time that I heard him speak, I said, well, here is someone that's not ordinary. This is someone special.
My first observations of Lynn was that he was rather kind of calm and quiet and laid back. He didn't seem to be the traditional fiery type of union leader that you picture when you think of the John L. Lewis type of leader in the steel industry. And I've come to realize that since that time, that in many ways his style of leadership is much better for the times than the confrontational and fiery type of leadership that some of the others in the past have had.
I've learned from Lynn Williams to be patient, be persistent, don't be belligerent, get your point across. You don't have to be loud to do that. Know what you're talking about and just keep after it.
And I've learned by seeing him operate is to sit back and look at both sides of the issue and not lock people out. everybody has something to contribute.
By and large, he set a standard for all of us. And that standard is to listen to members, to act on what they tell you, and to believe that there is going to be a future if you've got the ability to think through what you're going to do and execute a strategy.
In the end, what defines great leadership is reflected powerfully, truthfully, in the hearts and minds of those being led. These people speak of expectations fulfilled, a vision that gives their lives meaning, the way leadership has touched them. The Steelworkers know what leadership is because they never took it for granted. Never. They know because they have worked to create an environment from which superb leaders can emerge. Leaders who personify special and particular values. Leaders like Lynn Williams.
I'm not sure that my self-perception is about being such a great leader, but if there are those who feel that, and that's lovely if they do, I would chalk it up most to having great colleagues and a great membership and great support.